Hi there, it's me, Mike. It's the beginning of a new year, but that also means the end of another year. That's just how science works. I've got a top 10 list, I guess. I've never done one of these before, but a lot of people are doing them, so I figured, why not? These are going to be my top 10 Transformers of 2015. These are not necessarily Transformers that came out in 2015. They're just my favorite Transformers that I got in 2015. So these were all purchased by me in 2015. We're going to start with number 1. This is Masterpiece Bumblebee. Now, I'm not going to transform these because it's going to take too much time. This isn't a review. I'm just going through these. What I love about this figure, at first I was disappointed by his size. He's very small for a Masterpiece figure, but what he loses in size, he makes up for in funness. He's great. He's fun to transform. I got repro labels for him. And he does come with a Spike or Daniel. There's a lot of fighting over who this is. I don't really care. I want to say Daniel. It really could be either of them. But between the two of these, they came in the same package. They're a lot of fun. I'm glad I got them. I know you can get the G2 one still. If you could pick up one of these, I'd definitely recommend this because it's a lot of fun. And that's what it's all about. So as we move on, I just want to point out this list was very hard to do. I got a lot of figures this year, from Combiner Wars to Masterpiece to third-party Transformers. Some of them were surprises, some of them were duds. I want to do reviews on them and also do bots and shots, which you guys should watch. But this next one, number 9, was kind of a surprise to me. This is MMC, which is my first MMC figure. Salvia Promenon, or just the third-party Solus Prime, which is a random character to make. They just took their RC mold, which is Azalea, not Azalea, which is a flower. Azalea, guys. They took Azalea, which is RC, painted her gold and whatever color this is. I'm colorblind. Green, maybe a mint green. I've got no idea. Give her a hammer, a fantastic head sculpt, and called it a day. It's Solus Prime, and it's perfect. I love it. It's a bitch to transform, so this is another reason why I won't be transforming these. This might come up in a review some point, but she's super posable. She looks good just standing on my shelf. I don't care if I'll ever transform her again. Although I can, she's not impossible. She's finicky, but she looks so good. Her colors are great. Even for a colorblind person, her colors are great. So this was a surprise for me because she sat on my shelf for a while, not even open. She just sat in her box. And one day I just decided to open her up. Pleasantly surprised. Absolutely love her. Number 9. Okay, moving on to number 8. This is going to be one of my few cheats on here, and I've got a couple because it's so hard. But this is a pretty big year for combiners, especially with Combiner Wars going on with the main Hasbro toy line. So number 8 is going to be this guy. This is Titan Class Devastator. He's gigantic. Individually, his bots are only okay, but together, this is honestly good enough for me to sell my third-party Mecha Toys Devastator, which I thought I'd never do because that was my first third-party figure. But I actually love this figure. I know it seems a little silly. He's not as complex as Mecha Toys, but he makes up for it in sheer size. There are a few third-party upgrade kits coming out that I'll probably get to fix his toe problem because that is not Devastator's toe. But that's like a fixable flaw. He also has a nice repro label set that I'm going to probably get. He's very articulated. I love how he looks. And he's honestly not that complicated. So it's kind of fun to transform him. Unlike some of the third-party combiners where they're just kind of, they're cool to look at, but they're really hard to transform or a pain to transform. This guy kind of has it all. He's easy to transform, he's fun to play with, and he looks good on the shelf. So this is number 8. Alright, moving right along, we've got number 7, and that's going to be Masterpiece Trax. Now this guy, my newest figure, easily. I just got him for Christmas. And he might be just so new that he sneaks on the list so high because he's very new, but I love him. He's super posable. He's not that hard to transform. The wings look great. He's got cool accessories. Trax was never one of my favorite characters. That's how good this figure is. I never cared about Trax. The cartoon, I thought he was lame. He had like a Thurston Howell III from Gilligan's Island kind of voice. I never had his toy growing up, so there wasn't a nostalgia factor, but I just love everything about this character. Get a closer look. His transformation is great. His posability is great. I'm probably going to pick up the Repo Label set for him. Highly recommend getting this guy. Moving on to number 6. This came out at the very beginning of 2015. This is Masterpiece Ultra Magnus. This guy isn't what I thought he was going to be. I was kind of hoping for an MP10 that had armor on him, kind of like the toy did, but what they did with this guy is great. The way he transforms, he retains his entire transformation. He's not a parts former. Everything fits into its place. He's got great articulation. He's got a fantastic head sculpt. He's big. He's beefy. I just love him. I've got a Repro set label on him. That's why he's a little shinier than normal. Totally worth picking that up for this guy. I absolutely love him. And I feel like you would too if you got him. He's a little pricey, but totally worth it. We're on 5 now. This next guy was a complete surprise. I didn't expect him to come out. In fact, I thought I missed him forever because he's pricey if you don't buy him from the source. This is Mecha Toys. Was it Nemesis? Yeah, Mecha Toys Nemesis. He's basically a remold of Hypernova, who is their version of Nova Prime. This is Nemesis Prime, and he looks like Spawn. That's awesome. He's a black repaint of an already existing figure, but that figure has like wings coming out, like angel wings. This is the exact opposite. This is basically the guy who got turned into the devil, and that's what he is. He's a Transformer devil, and he looks fantastic. I love the chains. I love the dead matrix on his chest. I love his big ass sword. He's kind of a pain to transform, that's true, but he looks so good on the shelf. Not a big deal. He's gonna stay like this forever in my heart. Number 4 on my list is also a cheat because I got him on December 31st, 2014, but I got him at the end of the day, so I'm just gonna count it. I'm gonna count it for 2015. He's also a figure that definitely didn't come out in 2015. But he was so good, I literally held him in my hand all day. I think I even took a nap with this guy. This is Masterpiece Soundwave, and he's fantastic. He's a tape player. That's cool, because reasons. He's exactly how I remember from the cartoon. He's hardcore nostalgia factor going on here. He looks fantastic on the shelf. He's not a pain to transform. He looks good as a tape player. I love him. If you can find this guy, you need to buy him. Him or Sound Blaster, who is the black repaint of this guy. And he comes with Rat Bat. This is the Takara version, so he only came with 1 tape. There was a Toys R Us exclusive that came with all of his tapes, minus Rat Bat. I sort of got the knockoffs because I didn't want to pay those prices for them. Highly recommend picking them up. They're a lot of fun. He's fun. These are all fun. That's why they're in my top 10. I mean, that makes sense, right? Alright, almost done. Next is number 3. This is another figure that didn't come out in 2015, but I don't care. I got him at Frankensons, which is kind of a big trade show here in California. This is Perfect Effect Warden. And he is... this is hard to do. He's so big. This is Perfect Effect Warden, and he's stolen my heart. This guy is gigantic. He is a pain to transform in any of his modes, and he has 3 of them. One of them is just a gigantic head because he fits the G1 Fort Max. So I guess this is technically the Brave Max repaint. He's black, which I love better. I like black repaints. Sue me. He looks fantastic in robot mode. I love his treads coming off the back of his body. He's an IDW version of this guy. So unlike in the regular cartoon, he's basically a big robot instead of being a gigantic city robot. And that's fine. He's never going to transform in my collection again. But he's going to stand there looking awesome with his gigantic gun. So highly recommend if you can find this guy. Just like pretty much everything else on my list. If you can find this, I highly recommend picking it up. I was hesitant at first because I heard he was kind of scary to transform. It's worth it. He's worth it. You're worth it. Almost done, I promise. These last 2 are definitely cheats because they're both combiners, but it's so hard to choose. You can't just choose one of them because they're a combiner set. This one is a surprise for me because initially I thought it was awful. This is Combiner Wars Menasor, and Combiner Wars Menasor looked awful, but these have the Perfect Effect hands and body kit upgrade with a head upgrade. So he actually looks fantastic. He's noticeably taller. He stands better. And I love him because he looks fantastic. This is honestly the best looking Minosaur I've seen come out of anyone. Third party, first party, second party, fifth party. I don't know what that is, but he's fantastic. I absolutely love him. He looks great sitting on the shelf. Again, because he's Combiner Wars, he's not hard to play with. You can take him apart, you can transform him. It doesn't take you hours with kind of nerve-wracking, oh, am I gonna break this kind of thing. He's just a lot of fun. He's got a gigantic sword. He looks cool posed in different poses. I like him. I mean, I'm gonna write him love notes after this, asking him if he wants to go out with me, but we'll see. Finally, we have it. This is number 1, and I spoiled it a little bit. It's Combiner. This is Unique Toys Warden, and I wanted to actually have all of these guys individually on my top. Some of them are weaker than others, but the last figure, this big white guy in the middle, Siegfried, who is Unique Toys' version of Hunger, he is fantastic. He's good enough to be everywhere on this list. Numbers 10 through 1. That's how much I love him. The repro labels are slowly coming out for him. I have Troll down here already stickered up. And as soon as the rest come out, I'm taking them apart. I'm putting them together. He is a third-party figure, so yes, he can get a little scary to transform. But he just looks so good on his shelves. The proportions are great. His posability is great. He's got a high nostalgia factor because I had Abominus as a kid, and that's who this guy is. And he's freaking huge. He's gigantic, and he looks great on your shelf. And when you can brave it, he's fun to take apart and play with. Although these knees, little scary. Little scary. I already broke them, but he came with replacements, and that's what I did. So honestly, if you can get this guy out of any of these, if you got any Combiner this year, besides Feral Rex, which I can't talk about because I don't have, this is easily, hands down, one of my favorites. I absolutely love him. He's a fun toy to play with. So that's been it. Those have been my top 10 figures. It was a really hard list to make. Some of them didn't make it. I know Apollyon wasn't everyone's favorite figure this last year, but I actually like playing him. I think he looks good on a shelf. Good enough to kind of get an honorable mention, I guess. Also, I do have the Warbatron Bruticus figure, but he doesn't get on the list. He's not as good as the other figures that I have in here, in my opinion, although he still looks good. I did have some other figures that I sold, but I figured since I don't have them, they automatically don't get on this list, even though they were pretty fun. Most notably the Fans Project Dinobots. I got rid of them to get the Toy World because I like their combining feature, and I think they were a little more G1 accurate, which I appreciated. Anyway, thanks for sticking me with this far. Stick around if you want to see more. I'll probably make more videos. Also, Bots and Shots is coming out. Zach's coming over. We're going to do a new one, and that'll be fun. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.